Today we're going to talk about resilience. Why some youth avoid crime despite risk. Why do some children exposed to poverty, family instability, trauma, or neighborhood violence never become delinquent, while others with similar experiences do? Criminology has spent decades documenting risk factors for crime. But an equally important question is this: what protects some youth from ever entering the criminal justice system at all? Across decades of research, from foundational theory to recent meta-analysis, the evidence consistently shows that protective factors buffer risk and redirect developmental pathways. The answer, supported by decades of research, is resilience. Today, we're going to talk about what resilience actually is, how it functions as a protective factor against juvenile delinquency, and why its effects extend far beyond adolescence into adulthood. In criminology and developmental science, resilience does not mean that adversity doesn't matter. It does. Resilience refers to the capacity to adapt successfully despite exposure to risk, stress, or trauma. One of the most influential scholars in this area, Anne Maston, famously described resilience as ordinary magic. Not rare, not heroic, but rooted in ordinary systems of care like families, schools, and communities functioning reasonably well. In other words, resilience is not a personality trait. It is a process shaped by relationships, structure, and opportunity. Now we'll review resilience as a protective factor against delinquency and analogous behaviors. Research consistently shows that resilient youth are less likely to engage in chronic delinquency, serious violence, substance abuse, gang involvement, and early justice system contact. This is juxtaposed against the protective elements that foster resilience, which include stable, supportive caregivers, positive school attachment, clear expectations and boundaries, pro-social peer networks, and mentors and adult role models. This aligns directly with Travis Hirschi's social control theory, which argues that strong bonds to family, school, and conventional institutions reduce delinquency. Resilience strengthens these bonds, making crime less attractive, less necessary, and less compatible with a young person's identity. One of the most important findings in criminology is that risk is not equal to destiny. Many youth experience multiple risk factors and still avoid delinquency. Why? Because resilience operates as a buffer. Supportive relationships help youth regulate emotions, cope with stress, develop problem-solving skills, and maintain hope and future orientation. Instead of responding to adversity with aggression or withdrawal, resilient youth are more likely to seek support or adapt constructively. This helps explain why exposure to trauma alone does not predict criminal behavior. It's how youth are supported after that exposure that matters most. Longitudinal criminological research, most notably the Pathways to Desistance study, demonstrates how early protective factors, such as family bonds, school engagement, psychosocial maturity, and prosocial supports shape desistance and long-term outcomes from adolescence into adulthood, even among serious juvenile offenders. This work shows that resilience-related processes are not new concepts, but well-established mechanisms in life course criminology that explain why some youth disengage from crime over time while others persist. It's important to be clear about what resilience is not. Resilience is not blaming individuals for structural disadvantage, ignoring poverty, racism, or inequality, nor expecting youth to overcome harm alone. Resilience does not replace the need for social reform. Instead, it highlights how supportive environments reduce harm even when structural risks remain. The most resilient outcomes occur when individual support and structural change work together. Resilience reminds us of something crucial in criminology. Preventing crime isn't only about responding to bad behavior. It's about supporting healthy development long before crime occurs. When youth experience connection, consistency, and care, delinquency becomes less likely, not because of fear or punishment, but because they have something to lose and something to protect. Resilience isn't magic. It's evidence-based, it's measurable, and it's one of the strongest tools we have for preventing crime across the life course. In fact, criminologists have been mapping this for a long time. If you've learned anything useful from this video, please feel free to share it.